コインテレグラフへようこそ。今日この動画ではもうタイトルにあるようにもうクリプトをやってる人だったら知らない人はいないはずなんですけど、このメタマスクっていうイーサリアムベースのウォレット、これを開発したコンセンシスっていう会社のアジアのマネージングディレクターの方にインタビューをしてきたので、それを皆さんにお届けしたいと思います。ちなみにこれは後半なので、前半はコインクラブの方でやってるので、まずそっちを見てから後半を見た方が話が流れて分かりやすいかなと思います。このコンセンシスっていうのはジョセフ・ルビンっていうイーサリアムのコーファウンダーが立ち上げた実は会社であって、ものすごく業界では有名な会社なんですけど、この動画ではまず前半にはまずこのチャールズさんのバックグラウンドだったり、そもそもコンセンシスとはどういうものなのか、メタマスクはどういう流れで作られたのかみたいな話を聞いていて、でこの動画の後半ではDeFi のレギュレーションって今後来ると思うのか、それがどういうふうに影響するのかだったりとか、イーサリアム 2.0 今後どういった期待を持てるのかだったり、あとは実はイーサリアムベースの CBDC 各政府が作るデジタル法定通貨っていうのが実は水面下でいろいろ動いてるみたいな話があったりするので、そういったところまでいろいろ聞けたので、ぜひ皆さん前半を見た後に後半見てください。このチャールズさんは本当にマネージングディレクターでもあるし、著者でもあったりするし、元香港政府のフィンテックのトップだった人でもあるので、本当にいろんなことを知っていてすごく面白いので、ぜひ全部見ててください。それではどうぞ。
Okay, so I understand like this, I mean, as ecosystem grows up, and if you see like DeFi lookup value is just crazy high, and NFT is also booming. I think especially DeFi, right? Like DeFi is like now everybody's interested in it. So, but I'm also kind of curious, like how are you concerned with like DeFi regulation? Because like that's like a direct conflict with traditional finance, especially in the US. Traditional finance has huge impact on politicians, right? Then all those politicians are interested in regulating DeFi, namely like for example like Uniswap, right? Like they're also like kind of very cautious about what to list and stuff like that. So then like I'm kind of curious, like how concerned are you on this regulation?
I think regulation will come.
Yeah.
In DeFi, they will come in different ways. What you want to capture is really that the regulators are looking at DeFi, but there is different type of regulators in every countries. Some regulators want to look at protecting the end users, but they also want to look at how they can reinvent their own finance. And they all know that, for example, CBDCs are coming, and CBDCs are being built by central banks. So regulators are part of those conversations about central bank digital currencies. But they can see also in DeFi that there is a new type of finance which is also being experimented. So there is some of these DeFi protocols which might be bringing a risk, which the regulators wants to protect consumer with. But there is also a very positive look at this new decentralized finance, thinking it can be a little bit more coming into a framework, and it can begin to be some kind of public infrastructure. And I would not be surprised that some of these projects or some of the business models of DeFi will maybe have to evolve a little bit, but eventually could be happening to be a shared infrastructure within any economies, with the blessing of regulators. So for this, DeFi will have to keep evolving, making sure it respects the core values of regulations. But I don't think it's regulations against DeFi. I think these two worlds are meeting at this moment in time, because DeFi has reached this critical size where it requires sometimes attention. But I think the conversations are positive. And there will be some aspect of DeFi which will have to be adjusted, so it can fit within regulations. But I don't think it's a conflict. I think there will be trade-off on both sides, and decentralized finance will definitely be part of our life in the very near future, within regulated kind of framework. And Yusuke, my prediction is within 18 months. We will start to see regulated banks operating on blockchain.
Ooh, okay.
I would not be surprised to start to see new banks deciding that they will not rely on on databases and old infrastructure, but deciding to rely on CBDCs, deciding to rely on stable coins, and having a big part of their operations, which will be actually automated by smart contracts, and relying on global networks such as Ethereum. You know the pace of innovation in our space. You know how many companies are investing, developing new products, and many of these companies are also developing product to fit with the regulation. It's not always to build something crazy. Some people are spending a lot of time, and sometimes with the support of ConsenSys, to build products which will be aligned with regulations. So I will not be surprised to see banks operating with the blessing of regulators on blockchain in the next 18 months.
Do you think which country do you think it's gonna implement like that? Is it gonna be like a US, like Western? I don't know. European country?
Probably
US.
Probably US. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you try to start connecting the dots in terms of regulations, you start to see that there is some regulations which are kind of converging and will authorize certain type of new banks to have a major part of their infrastructure sitting on blockchain.
What do you think about like Hong Kong and China? I know you're very familiar with that situation.
So Hong Kong and China are part of the same country, but they operate with different systems, right? So whatever you will read about China does not always apply immediately to Hong Kong, and sometimes it will not apply at all. So we've seen a crackdown on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin mining in China. I think the news has been all around. And what is fascinating for us here in Hong Kong is we have regulations for crypto here. We have advertising for Bitcoin in the city. I was going out for lunch today and I saw a Hong Kong tram. You know, we have the tram in Hong Kong with advertising for Bitcoin companies. So the SFC, the Hong Kong regulator of Hong Kong, has given a license for regulated entities to deal with crypto. And in the book, Blockong, the book, I cover and to be honest, a big part of the global crypto elite is actually based here in Hong Kong and based in Asia. If you look at the top 5 volumes of exchanges daily, out of the top 5, 3 of them are coming from Asia and or Hong Kong. So the regulation will probably change here. There is discussion about regulations to protect retail investors, but the ecosystem is already here, and people will stay because it's a vibrant part of the world and a vibrant city.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a very open environment. It's interesting. So, especially like I really agree with, especially going back to the regulation. I agree with that. They're gonna find a way to actually create a framework. Especially like I'm kind of curious how, like, for example, Aave, right? Aave started the professional pool for like institutional investors, right? So I think those things are gonna be a great opportunity for obviously for MetaMask. But yeah, I mean those like interest is there. So. I'm kind of curious to see like what's gonna what the future look like. But from now, like I wanted to kind of ask you this question. Next question. So first of all, like you only focus on Ethereum, right? Like as a company.
So ConsenSys as a company is mainly working on Ethereum, but we work also on protocols around Ethereum.
Okay.
So we have these partnerships with Filecoin, which is not per se an Ethereum network, but which is very close and bring value to the Ethereum network. We are working with a lot of layer 2 solutions and sidechain. Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum. We launched at ConsenSys our own sidechain and layer 2 for NFT called Palm. So we are multi-protocol, but with a very strong foundation on the Ethereum ecosystem.
Okay, so
which is the ecosystem where there is the most activity also today.
Yeah. So here's the question. So I started to see, for example, like a layer 1, Ethereum killer, right? Like Ethereum like competitors rising, right? For example, Solana, or Cardano is gonna coming up, and then maybe Polkadot in the future. So then the reason why a lot of people like started using those platforms is because Ethereum has like a higher gas fee to do like anything, like especially when it's like congested, right? So then like a lot of people users actually moving towards the other platform. Do you think that's like a as a threat to the Ethereum, and how does how do you see in the future like Ethereum is gonna gain back the user that actually already moved to a Solana or other ecosystem?
I think it's not a zero-sum game. My personal opinion is there will be in this new Web3, it will be an internet with multiple blockchains. I think competing with Ethereum today is fairly a very big challenge due to the audience of Ethereum, the ecosystem, its readiness, the number of developers. But there is probably space for other blockchain which will come for very specific applications and which will be optimized for this type of applications. But it's also an industry which is rising and growing. So I think the pie is growing for everyone. It's growing for Ethereum, it's growing for some others. Maybe what I want to share with you, Yusuke, is even though there is sometimes in our industry a lot of noise, as you know, a lot of buzz and a lot of news and everything, when you are not sure, it's important to look at the data. And we have the chance in blockchain to have really accurate data. So if you look at the number of users on DeFi, 4 million users on DeFi on the Ethereum ecosystem, 160 million Ethereum addresses today. So it shows you a little bit like the head start of Ethereum. The transaction fees and the number of transactions on Ethereum. So you will see like there is really an ecosystem which is kind of feeding itself, helping and bringing value and bringing profits for the application built on the top of Ethereum without any sponsor, without any incentive. Many products like Uniswap or some new games are actually profitable businesses because they sit on Ethereum, because there is this ecosystem all around that. And when it comes to the price of the gas fees, I think it's a transition right now. Historically, when humankind is building technology and is building bandwidth, the humans will eat the new bandwidth almost immediately. If I'm old enough to remember the old internet with the old modems and slow kind of bandwidth, and as soon as you add a little bit more bandwidth, more people were coming and more people were consuming. So it's a natural process, and it's showing you that there is a great market fit. So people are queuing on Ethereum because there is what they want on Ethereum. And you might have another technology which will be a little bit faster, but then if there is not the ecosystem, if there is not like a superb wallet like MetaMask, if there is not like all the different software to build all your applications, you find yourself in a highway, but the highway is going to nowhere, and then you say, okay, maybe it's not the right way, and then you come back. So we see some project going in different chains sometimes, but we've seen also projects coming back to Ethereum because they realized there was an audience over there was an ecosystem, all the bits and pieces, they will not have to build it from scratch, it was already existing. So when I see people queuing at the restaurant, I know it's a good restaurant. And when I see my transactions pending, I know it's because I am in the right shop.
That's a good way, that's a good analogy. But I'm curious, like for example, in the future, maybe do you have any plans to like support other chains as well using MetaMask? For example, like Cardano, Polkadot, I don't know, other.
We are already supporting some side chains within the Ethereum ecosystem, but today it makes more sense to support the overall ecosystem. And our product stack is built for Ethereum and for the EVM. So we are very open, but I will say the ConsenSys foundations are really around the EVM, and this is where all the action is today.
I see. Cool. Maybe as we talk about like those like Ethereum, the performance in the future, what's your views on like ETH 2.0, and what do you expect like to happen? Like
I'm really super excited. I'm convinced about Ethereum for many years, but one thing which really makes me personally really confident in ETH2 coming up is the execution of the EIP 1559. I'm sure you have covered this kind of chapter in the Ethereum ecosystem of upgrading the protocol so that we could design a base for the fees and improve the experience for developers and users. And when you see how it has been implemented, it's kind of really a strong endorsement for the teams which are involved in the development of ETH2. So if you look at this, you have a very deep upgrade of Ethereum, which just happened before our eyes with EIP 1559. There is already 200,000 ETH which has been burned, and the deployment is working very well. But you have also the Beacon chain. So the Beacon chain is this new Ethereum 2 chain, which already exists, but which have no smart contracts yet on top of it. And this Ethereum blockchain is locking, if I remember well, about 5 million ETH today. There is multiple clients to help this new chain for Ethereum to run, and for the past 10 months now, this Ethereum side chain, which we call the Beacon chain, is working very well. It has a little bit of adjustment here and there, but really nothing critical. So what's going to happen early next year will be what we call the merge. The merge between the Ethereum 1, which is a proof of work Ethereum with miners, and merging into the proof of stake blockchain, which is Ethereum 2. So you will have two layers, one layer for the execution and one layer for the consensus. So I'm very confident of the execution. I can see the brightest mind in the space working on this. And when you see what they have delivered already, it makes me very, very comfortable. Just a little bit impatient, I guess. But we all are, and Q1 next year is coming soon.
Oh, Q1 next year! I can't wait for that. That's gonna be exciting. I mean,
but Yusuke, maybe the best execution of this migration will be something we will not even realize. The same way EIP 1559 will be very smooth. So it's a little bit like upgrading your computer. You just have to push the button. Do you want the upgrade? Yes. And then suddenly your computer is faster, your computer have new applications. And I think it's really the way people are building this migration to ETH2. And I would not be surprised if people, or some people, don't even realize they have moved to a new version of Ethereum, which is faster, more secure, and beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, like, for example, like, if I think about, like, this future mass adoption, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, the company is going to start using in blockchain. Then what are the options, right? So my thought is, I don't think they're going to jump into, like, I don't know, like Solana from the beginning, maybe like Ethereum, because it's just well known, right? And the reason why I thought is that because there's so many big companies actually supporting ConsenSys, right? You've been already working with like JP Morgan and other companies, right? Maybe can you explain like how you interact with those big companies and what they're interested in?
Sure. Yeah. So ConsenSys has delivered about 300 projects with large organizations such as banks and other large groups globally. And what these enterprises need is quality software. That's number one. They need a quality product on the top of the software, which are solving a real problem and their problem, not your problem or a problem which you are inventing. And they need enterprise services around their new blockchain implications. So we received investment at ConsenSys last year from JP Morgan, from UBS, from MakerDAO, which you may be familiar as well. Protocol Labs, the company behind Filecoin, has also invested in ConsenSys. So it shows a very strong endorsement for the company, for the product, for the engineers working with us. And these companies are not so much into the technology per se, but they want to find new markets where there is or existing demands, existing infrastructure which is there, so they can develop their new businesses. So it's not so much about finding the new and latest technology feature, but really reinventing their businesses. So we build consortiums, so groups of companies building their own private blockchain business networks. We are helping a lot of people connecting to the mainnet. So it's very much enterprise, and for mass adoptions, I think it's going to come from the enterprise. If you are running today a video game company and you have 50 million users, you will want to have like really strong ecosystem around you. You will need to have a lot of companies and vendors to support you. And that's what Ethereum is offering today. And ConsenSys is one of the prime partner for these companies which wants to issue massive amount of NFTs. These companies which wants to integrate DeFi into their activities. So these people, when they go and shop for new technology, they want to be in good company and reliable company. That's why a rich ecosystem and a mature ecosystem and companies like ConsenSys are very critical.
Yeah. Well, okay, wow, that's really exciting. By the way, I realized we only have like 5 minutes left. I know you're busy, and okay, so to kind of closing this conversation, but maybe can you touch on the roadmaps for the ConsenSys this year? Especially, I'm curious about MetaMask. You mentioned there's gonna be a lot of updates, but maybe can you tease us a little bit about what's gonna come?
Sure. So there is multiple groups within ConsenSys. We have a lot of news coming on Ethereum 2. ConsenSys is developing Ethereum 2 with the community, but we are also developing our own Ethereum 2 client, which is called Teku. So Teku will be in prime time early next year. Ooh. It's already a great product, but it's going to be used by many more people. At Infura, there is a lot of additional connectivity within Infura. Infura is some kind of connector to the Ethereum mainnet. MetaMask is coming with new updates. I cannot tell you too much. One of the updates I can share with you is MetaMask will not be used only by end users anymore. We are launching also MetaMask Institutional. So MetaMask Institutional is dedicated to the crypto fund managers, such as the hedge funds or the funds in general. And it's a special version of MetaMask which really fits with the needs of funds when they want to access DeFi or when they want to access different Ethereum infrastructure. So essentially, it's a special MetaMask version for professionals, which you can connect directly to your professional custodian. You can define some trading rules. You can make sure everything remains compliant. You can manage the risk of trading on DeFi better. You got all the reporting for your fund management. So MetaMask Institutional is a very exciting part of the roadmap. And then within Codify, you remember Codify is something similar to Microsoft Office. You've got different sub-products within the Codify family. So Codify Payment is growing super fast, as well as Codify Asset. So there is multiple things happening. The best way is to join us on the ConsenSys newsletter. We are releasing all our news over there. And please also follow Coin Club Japan. Always one of the best places to get the news on the ecosystem. And I know you follow the ConsenSys software very closely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm super excited about all those institutional adoptions. Because this is a real thing. You can read about it everywhere, but we can tell you firsthand. We have this early adopter program with a long waiting list of people who wants to start using Codify and using MetaMask. This is a real thing, and it will have a strong impact on the ecosystem. If you look at the early days of Ethereum, which was mainly users and developers, we have now retail users coming for gaming, coming for NFTs. We have institutions, we have NFTs. So all of these contribute to more growth, more stability. So these are really strong and tangible signals that we are on the right track. Oh my goodness. So it sounds like you're just laying down the highway for the big players to just, take off. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear about the upgrade. And okay, so we sadly, time flies like crazy, so fast. But every single time, it's just like this especially a company like you and an interesting person like you have like so much information. I honestly wanted to actually talk about CBDC and the future of CBDC. What's the future of like a stablecoin? I think a lot of people are interested in that. So if you have time,
maybe you can edit the video and let me tell you what I see coming in CBDCs, and you can edit and put things.
I mean, you can go ahead now. Yeah.
So CBDCs are essentially central bank digital currencies. It's money provided to you via blockchain by your government, by your central banks.
Yeah.
And what you see in parallel to CBDCs, you see coming stable coins.
Yeah.
So stable coins are Hong Kong dollar, US dollar, maybe Japanese yen as well, which are issued as a token by private entities. So this could be a regulated bank which will decide with the approval of the regulators to say, I will distribute some of this currency via blockchain with my brand on it. So you will see some competition between stable coins and CBDCs.
Yeah.
And today we've got about 100 billion of stable coins in the crypto markets.
Yeah.
CBDCs will stay in the normal economy, but my prediction is within the first part of 2022, the volume of CBDCs will overcome the volume of stablecoin. And this will be very interesting to see. And people will have to choose. Do you want the money issued by your government, or do you want the same currency issued by a bank, for example, or maybe a tech company later on? So I think our relationship and our choice of monies will change drastically, and it will be very interesting to see what the market says and where the trust is going eventually.
What's your guess? Which do you think people are going to choose?
It will depend on the context. So maybe if you are in the capital market, if you can get a US dollar from an investment bank, and this investment bank is offering you instant global transfer and some special services if you use their money, maybe you're going to use this money. Maybe if you are in some countries and there is like a big telecom company having their own dollar or their own national currencies, and this dollar gives you discount, this dollar gives you just additional services, you might decide that I'm going to use the central bank money for certain use, and maybe I'm going to use private money or stable coin for some other use because this currency is better.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
But they will be backed one-to-one, so you should not have any risk. It's just gonna you will have the choice to choose a brand and to choose a network where this money is moving.
Also, like a surveillance of like a risk and all that kind of stuff too, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy. I ran out of time. I apologize for that. But if you're always welcome to the channel, and then please come back when you have like a new update, and I'm excited to talk about more about the product but also future of the CBDC and stablecoin next time. So
Yusuke, thank you very much. Quality conversation, quality time here. See you soon on YouTube again.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cointelegraph. Like, subscribe, and hodl.